Pardon me, miss, but I've never done this to a real live girl. And never really even thought about that. And I wasn't as I was singing that song. I don't know why it came in my head. Who knows why anything comes to my head? But that's creepy, especially if you put it in the perspective of today's society and availabilities of alternatives to real live girls. Pardon me, miss, but I've never done this to a real live girl. Yeah, I don't think I'll sing that one anymore. Hey, Phillip's in and Mark is here. Wolverine. Hey, Deuce. Good to see you, pal. Mark says YouTube is getting ridiculous and it's not fair. YouTube is there for a laugh, not to try and remove the channel. Stay strong and fight against this bro, and hopefully this all goes away for good. Well, thanks. I appreciate it, Mark. I am. The guys at Team YouTube are looking into it for me now, and we'll see what happens. Last time they were able to get it righted. We'll see if I don't know if that'll be the case this time or not. Lick says, "Oh no, cringe! What cringe?" And Mime says, "Yo." And Nectar says, "How it's going?" Kaiser says, "Yo" as well. Yeah, just thought today we'll do another follow up. I'm really enjoying making these more topical videos and get you guys' takes on cancel culture on the poll I posted over at the YouTube channel. Let's see, was it 93%, I believe. The poll is, these are the two options: cancel culture sucks, don't like something, don't watch or listen, or cancel culture serves a purpose of keeping bad thoughts in check. Now, cancel culture sucks leads 92% to 8%. My big concern is, so far, the 8% of people who support cancel culture, none of them have voiced an issue with stating it as cancel culture serves a purpose of keeping bad thoughts in check. I stated it that way on purpose, thinking people could vote for cancel culture, but they'll be in the comments saying, listen, I don't want to be the thought police. Here's what I want. Apparently, at least the 8% that have voted for it are perfectly okay with being the thought police. That shouldn't come as a surprise to me at all. Deuce says, "I'm here for Rogan and Whoopi. I want them in a Roman style death match. Winner gets a one-time pass. This is how we solve racism." Same says, "Seems like cancel culture is a weapon. Both sides think they need it, or one side will lose the advantage." I would agree with that. Same. And the problem is, we've taken it a step further. We've always let the market decide. And that, to me, that's how it should work. Okay, now, Joe Rogan, let's use him for an example. He had guests on who certainly their take on the virus and the vaccines goes against what the large majority of scientists have said is the case. They played the video clips of him saying the N-word on a number of occasions. So that's where you let the market decide. Are either one or both of those things egregious enough for you to not tune into his show? If you don't tune into his show, his sponsors don't get your eyeballs, don't get your money. That's what you want to do. But people now feel like they need to take it to the next level and make sure and silence him, because what he said or what his guests said go against what I believe to be the case. And anybody who does that, anybody who is not right thinking, needs to be silenced. And that's the difference. It's not, and that's what the cancel culturists will tell you. It's not cancel culture. It's repercussions for your actions. No, it isn't. Repercussions for the actions would be losing viewers, losing listeners, whatever. Actually going after someone and trying to browbeat some really pissy pussy companies that bow to those ridiculous kind of pressures is taking it to a whole other level. And that's cancel culture. Right. Nate says Rogan has gotten too popular, so people who dislike him are going to want to dig up some old clips to take him down. You know what got me too, Nate? I saw on the dumpster fire that is Twitter, I saw somebody listing all the right-wing guests Joe Rogan has had on. Like that was some sort of an indictment. I mean, I don't even agree with a lot of the people that are on that list, but that's basically in a nutshell what they're doing here. Here's why we have to cancel them. These are the people he had on the show. Most of them, the vast majority of them, nothing to do with COVID or vaccines or anything like that. It's just they don't want those voices to be heard. And now this has presented an opportunity for them to try and silence people. I think that is the long and short of what goes on in cancel culture. That's what they're after. Hey, Cool Whip. Wholesome Dude says, someone on Twitter exposes the political hit job, and the CEO of Barstool debated the three guys who are in charge of the Democratic super PAC who are suspected of pushing the stories on Joe. Oh, there's a little question to me, Deuce, that a lot of this stuff, and this is on both sides, when you get any type of a nugget to use against somebody who is seen as being on the other team, as being the enemy, that there are a lot of entities in place with a significant amount of push, many times a very significant amount of money, will try and get that idea squelched. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Kaiser says, Father Ted mocked religious cancel culture. Their slogan, down with this sort of thing. The movie they tried to protest became popular because of the protests. I've seen that happen on a number of occasions in the past where people protesting something or having issue with something has actually increased its or the person's popularity. And that's always a magnificent screw job as far as I'm concerned. Exactly. Madman says, yeah, this is totally not what Nazi Germany, USSR, and Cuba did or what North Korea and China does now. No, and I'm having a long conversation right now in the comment section of that poll with somebody who supports the cancel culture, and everything this person writes, without them even realizing it, I'm pointing it out, I don't think they care, points to exactly what we're talking about. It's a case of, I don't like this speech. By I mean the collective behind me, my echo chamber, should be in charge of determining who can and who cannot have a platform, and there's no personal responsibility. Like, again, if Rogan having that doctor on, who has a different take on the vaccines and everything, it's not the people that want to cancel him, and this person admitted it right away. Personal responsibility means nothing. It's up to their group to think for them. Because anybody when we're talking about something that could potentially kill you, like a pandemic, a virus within a pandemic, and if you decide to listen to one quote unquote expert from one source and make all your health decisions based on that, Darwinism took you out, because that's just moronic. I don't care who it is. Why would you not seek out more information before you get a vaccine, before you decide not to get a vaccine, whatever the case may be? So if this person that Rogan had on, and this person is going against the popular narrative, all right, so what? If Rogan has a flat earther on, I don't think they should be silenced. I don't think it would take you an awful lot of researching around to discredit the concept of a flat earth. But if you decide to just take that as fact because you heard somebody on Joe Rogan's show say it, and that means that the earth is then flat, that's on you. That's not for the rest of us to take away somebody's freedom of speech because you're dumb enough to believe anything you hear. Right. Not the cool up says because it aligns with their preconceptions. Exactly. Mark says, I'm proud of being part of this fantastic channel. Well, thank you. I absolutely love your reactions to especially Gamer Poop. Lenore Gamer Poop was really funny if you haven't seen it. Yeah, all the Gamer Poops were freaking brilliant. Nectar says, I would believe the mainstream health advice a bit more if it wasn't sponsored by Pfizer. That's a little unnerving. Yeah, I agree with you, Nectar. Again, you guys know I'm double vaxxed and boosted. And that's what the conclusion I came to from reading all I can read from all possible sources and talking to my own doctor. And for me, it was just simply a case of, I'm an old fat guy. And I think my best judgment on this is getting those vaccines in my system will help protect me. Somebody else doesn't want to. I can tell you from a personal standpoint, I can tell you why I'm not concerned whether or not somebody else wears a mask or anything, especially at this point in the pandemic. My wife and I were each double vaxxed back in March. A few months later, we both got COVID. And then after the 90 days passed of us having COVID, then we got the boosters. Now, in that time, in the interim, or after we had gotten COVID, but just before we had gotten boosted, Brax, my Spaz kid, and his girlfriend both got COVID and were staying with us at the time. My wife and I didn't wear masks. We didn't avoid them in any way, shape, or form. We went about our business. They stayed in the house, of course. And we didn't even get so much as a sniffle. It's simply because, again, we were vaccinated, and beyond that, we had, we had antibodies from actually having the virus itself. And that's where we're getting to. I mean, that's how you get to a point of turning something from a pandemic into an endemic state. So given all that, as I said, I did what I felt is right for me. I've got the protections. I don't care if somebody else doesn't want to get vaccinated. Oh, you're going to bring it home, you're going to kill grandpa. I am grandpa. I'm not worried about that. Just because that was the right move for me, if somebody's got that many concerns about the vaccine, again, for me, I don't see it. I don't have any about it. I don't care. So don't. Now, if the science is correct and you contract COVID and something terrible happens to you because you weren't vaccinated, you made that call for yourself. But it's not for me to tell you that you have to do it. Lex says, you guys are talking like cancel culture still means anything nowadays. Some Twitter babies crying over some bullshit for a week before moving on to the next target and forgetting about it. Except, Lex, it's not only that. In our case, like us here, or if the cancel cultures came after me, I don't give a fuck. They can say anything, cancel away. The problem is there are too many chicken shit corporations and individuals out there who buy into it. And politicians especially, who buy into this horse shit. So when you start getting policy made due to cancel culturists, that is a problem. Wolverine says, check my last post, please. Senior Goosh Goosh. Let's see, where's Wolverine? Wolverine says the government cannot make any social media platform terminate a specific account because that's a violation of First Amendment. Right, right. Government can't do it. Now, if said account violated the terms of service of said platform, absolutely. But what you're seeing is the cancel culturists outside of those terms of service, or trying to weakly, in some weak manner, connect what was presented with a terms of service of use, which just isn't the case. And they just try to pressure, especially, YouTube would be a perfect example. YouTube is very susceptible to the pressure of cancel culturists because we know one of Google's main priorities in life is making sure that everyone's aware of just how woke they are. And that's why it becomes an issue. Mark Karen says, even if you're double jabbed, you can still get COVID, but not as bad. Yeah, I was double jabbed when I got it. I had COVID mild symptoms last year. It's horrible. Wouldn't have that again. Mine was, when I got COVID, it was the symptoms were like a really bad flu. I will say this, the cough I had from COVID lasted longer than typically would with the flu, and my wife's lasted substantially longer than that. But again, there's no way to know. If we weren't double vaxxed, would we have had the same experience? Possibly. If we weren't double vaxxed, would we have been much sicker, maybe had to go to the hospital? That's possible too. That's why we got vaxxed. Philip says, I'd be lying if I didn't enjoy seeing Whoopi get taken down a peg. But like you said, that's just the cancel mob sacrificing one of their own, 100%. So they can keep getting away with canceling. I agree with you completely. Yeah, because I'm not a fan of Whoopi's either. But what she said was stupid. It was factually inaccurate. And she apologized for it. I mean, so you're gonna suspend her over that? But they have to. They feel they have to. Because when somebody from the other team does something that's even mildly goes against their worldview, they want to be able to go ahead and do their best to cancel them and point back and say, listen, even when it's somebody on our side, we come at them. That's exactly what happened to Whoopi Goldberg, because there's no way anybody will ever convince me that was an offense worth suspending someone over. Again, it was wrong. It was immediately, in her case, it was all factual. What she said was factually inaccurate, and she apologized for it. I mean, what the hell? I think most all of us have been wrong at least once. I think we have. Joker says, yours is one of 2 channels I'm sub to that seems to be actively targeted by YouTube for dumb reasons. Yeah, I don't get ours. For those of you wondering, the Team YouTube crew at Twitter is looking into it for me. We'll see what happens with that. Last time they were the ones who got it all cleared up, so let's hope. Let's see. Well, thank you, Roxzilla. Thanks. Sauce Kid Official says, I think that's one of the reasons they attach themselves to the LGBT community, because they're one of the only minorities that can influence politics. Yeah, they have a strong political influence for sure, the LGBTQ community. But I wouldn't say they're the only minority that can have a strong influence. I've said I make jokes about it, but the fact is it's true. If you wanted to pick minority people okay, by whatever parameters you want to put on it, the 2 that seem to never be entirely protected, or everybody say, no matter how upset people might get about you making fun of this person for their race or sexual orientation or whatever the case may be, the 2 that never get protected are the Jews and the gingers. So if you're Jewish and a redhead with fair skin, you're just screwed. Everybody's going to make fun of you and nobody's going to care. Code says, I have no problem towards private companies that cancel people, their own employees, because it's their own company. My main problem is that canceling people because their views are different than yours. Right, Code. I completely agree. And it's just, to me, it's like, now you got Spotify employees, much like what had happened with Dave Chappelle and Netflix. They're going to walk out, or they're threatening to walk out, or they're going to do this. Listen, then quit. But the problem is, then the companies, such in the case of Netflix, feel like they have to placate them. And, oh, you poor thing, we understand your suffering. It's like, no, this is the content we provide. Dave Chappelle is a comedian. In his comedy, he makes a lot of people uncomfortable. He says a lot of things a lot of people don't like. If that makes it too difficult for you to work here, get the fuck out. That's what they should have said. But no, oh no. Well, we're going to work on sensitivity training, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Fuck you. If you don't want to work there, don't work there. It's okay. Go get another job. Dude says, I like how the media says Joe spreads misinformation like they're not capable of it. Iraq and Afghanistan, weapons of mass destruction, Iraq, Vietnam, etc. True. And even more recently, look at the, I can't remember his name, the kid with the Native American guy in the stair down there that CNN just paid a shit ton of money to, because they jumped to all kinds of conclusions, even though CNN still, against all evidence to the contrary, likes to pretend that they're a legitimate news agency and that they present news in an unbiased fashion. Wait, Jewish gingers in that South Park Kyle? Pretty much, Kaiser. Yes. Patrick says, so far, all Spotify has lost a few aged musicians and a fraction of a percentage of the users. If they ignored the Twitter mob, they'd be safe. Oh, it goes on all the time. I've told you guys I liken it to the whole adpocalypse here at YouTube. That was just an overreaction by Google YouTube, because, again, they're so worried about being extremely woke. And when that writer, I'm not going to call him a journalist. That's not what they are. This clown kept refreshing a page on a video long enough to get an ad he thought was objectionable, so he'd have a story. Instead of YouTube just coming out and saying, well, you know what? The best deal you get anywhere in advertising is on YouTube, and they would be right. We take precautions against just that type of thing happening because they were at that time very significant precautions. Sometimes things will slip through here or there. All they had to say was there is a slight chance that maybe an ad that you would find distasteful could be placed, your ad could be placed against content you would find distasteful. That's part and parcel of doing business on the internet. Had they done that, the companies involved would have had to make it look like they're standing up for the downtrodden, and they would have pulled their ads, and they'd have been back the next month because it's still bottom line to these companies, and that's the best advertising bang for the buck you can get. But YouTube couldn't do that. They had to revamp the entire system, and really the odds of getting a bad ad on your content is no different than it was then. It's minuscule. But they disrupted the entire system to make it seem like they were very woke and responsive. James says the story Dave told about his trans friend in his last special was beautiful, honestly, but of course they don't listen. They jump to conclusions. Right, and they were, and it was a cool story. But they don't, you're right, they don't want to hear that. He said he made some jokes at their expense, and they don't want that type of speech to exist. They can try and justify it all they want. They can say, well, no, we're not saying we're above being joked about. It's just that you can't punch down. So in other words, unless your joke is going to contain language that celebrates them before you would dare to make a joke about them, it's going to be inadmissible, and they want you to be silenced about it. And then their whole thing is, well, you don't understand, within this community there are so many people that are suicidal that are that's not Dave Chappelle's problem. Just isn't. Let's see. Solar says, Curtis, here's the thing. They do not care about minorities. They're quick to throw them away when they no longer need them. What they care about is being able to be on a high horse, and I'm a lefty. Well, and that's the thing, Solar. You're not wrong in the respect that, and you're seeing a lot of people that are traditionally from the left finding this out. It's fine for the Democrats or the left to say that they expect to get huge support from minorities because they're working on their behalf. I would like to see where this work really took place, because I don't see a lot of it. When you see these Democrat-run cities that have been Democrat-run for generations, it doesn't seem like the people of color, the minorities there, are doing particularly well. So I just don't get what their selling point is. I really don't. Nectar says, I always say if you want to mandate vaccines, I want to mandate weight loss. Both have the same arguments and counter arguments with respect to COVID. Sure. I mean, being overweight, and I am, is absolutely a huge risk factor for COVID. I do understand. See, earlier on, you could almost make the case, or you could make the case, that at least though obesity is not contagious. But now where we are with the vaccines and everything and the availability of them here in America, I don't think they should be forcing anybody at this point. Because if you're double vaxxed and you're boosted, and now pretty much everybody's had the damn virus now after Omicron got done running wild on you, brother. Running wild through here. You're pretty solid. You've got some serious amounts of antibodies now. That's why I say I'm not concerned about it. New York just dropped the mask mandate today, and then Kathy Hochul, who's at first I thought she was just a pandering politician, and she is that, but I think she's an idiot too. Kathy Hochul is trying to trumpet the fact that cases have dropped significantly in New York because they did the right things, because in her leadership, she put this in place and she put that in place. Dipshit. New York's curve is going down the same way as every other state in the nation. It's taking the same path that every other country took that got hit with Omicron. It's going down in Florida. It's going down in Texas. It's going down in South Dakota. It's going down everywhere. Even in these states that didn't put anything in place. And yet she said, well, it only went down in New York because Kathy Hochul was there to make sure it did. It's just a coincidence that everybody else has the curve going down at the same point. I mean, you can't even make this shit up. That is so mind-numbingly stupid that it's laughable. James says, anti-vaccination and anti-mask stuff in America is crazy conspiracy nonsense. People crying about freedom over masks. Well, yeah, I've never gone so far as to cry about freedom over a mask. The way I look at mask mandates, although it's turned out that even, the CDC has admitted that the masks we are using aren't doing much good. But anti-vaccine, I'm not anti-vaccine, as I said. I'm vaxxed. I understand where people are coming from. People have a reticence about putting something new, different, unproven into their bodies. So I get that. Again, that's not my choice. I'm vaxxed. My wife is vaxxed. All my family is vaxxed. And everybody close to me who asked for my opinion, or in cases where sometimes I told them my opinion, are vaxxed. But that said, I don't have a problem with somebody not doing it, especially now. I'm protected. Let's teach their own. I will be your Valentine's Spagiel. Wolverine says, hashtag never had COVID, gang. Where you at? What? You never had it yet, Wolverine? I know we have no way of knowing what the actual numbers are because there's so many people like me. I'm not on any had COVID list anywhere because when I got it, I verified it with home tests, my wife too. We verified it with at-home tests, and there wasn't even a process to enter that information anywhere at the time. So whatever the numbers are, the hard numbers are for how many people in the country have had COVID, I think there are substantially more. And then you also have to factor in the people that had it and were completely asymptomatic and don't even realize they had it. So yeah, we've got to have a big hunk of people that have had the virus already now. Nectar says, I don't understand how the left turn from my body, my choice, go kill the fetus to get this thing inside your body to protect grandpa. Yeah, well, there's a lot of inconsistencies there. And that's true. Pritzker just announced lifting the mask mandates here February 28th, excluding schools and long-term healthcare facilities. Yeah, well, that's where ours is too now because my wife works at a senior center and assisted living center. And that's right. Their mandate is not lifted in that. I understand. I completely get that. And the schools, I think, should have had it lifted. They have not. I believe the schools should have been lifted, especially what we know about the effects of COVID on kids. I think they should be lifted. Kaiser says, I remember as a teen, I was hyper into the environment and fighting climate change. But over time, I realized I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit. It was both fear and egotism that drove me. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other issue, and we will cover it. Climate change, I think, there's no question it's happening. The only thing I would question there is how much of an impact is man actually having on it, as opposed to just the natural evolution of things on this planet. Spagiel says, Curtis, I live in Ottawa. There's so much tension here. I see. I've been following that. I see. And now with the cops starting to clamp down and, cutting off the truckers' supplies and everything, that could explode. Wolverine says Native American reservations, as far as I know, don't report numbers of their communities who've had COVID. Yeah, I think there's a lot of pockets of population where you haven't gotten full reporting on COVID. So as I said, whatever the raw numbers show, as far as number of people who've had it, I think the actual number is much, much higher. Lick says, I'm not getting the booster, don't need it. I already wear the mask. What more do you want? Again, Lick, I don't fault anybody for that. Again, and I know you're far intelligent enough to have read up on it, make your own choice. And if that's what you decide, I don't think anybody should force you to do otherwise. Code says the left want diversity on everything but opinions. Milak says, old news. I just found out that Ichizoku Reviewer Season 2 was canceled and removed by Funimation because it doesn't fit with their standards. Anyone who's heard DBZ's Sacred Ointment know otherwise. Nectar says, Curtis, I think you'll like this one. In my country, post-Soviet, they don't allow you a free COVID test if you're vaccinated. They just treat you like you have a flu without a test. Oh, really? Wow. Well, that's why I say the numbers we get both in America and worldwide are not all that accurate for a significant number of reasons. Excuse me, guys. Oh, my throat's been so dry. It's because the heat has to be on all the time in the house now. Let's see. Big Green says, oh, yeah, the numbers are inaccurate, especially at 100 Acre Wood, where Xi Jinping lives. Good old Winnie. James says, actually, this kind of mask has been used in Japan for 100 years. It's helped prevent large numbers from being affected by viruses in Japan many times. Right, James, again, I'm not going to debate anyone the effectiveness of masks because I don't have enough knowledge. But I do know that our scientists or people within the CDC have admitted that for whatever reason, the masks that we use outside of the N95 masks, the regular cloth masks, really don't do much against COVID. I mean, they've said it themselves, so I don't know what more there is. I don't know why they would make it up if they didn't have numbers. However, what they're saying makes sense to me because look at the progression of this virus. Look at the waves. We've had a couple of waves start and run out of control when mask wearing was at its height. So I don't think they do a particularly good job. James says from other viruses in the past, I mean, right. But from what I understand of that, and again, I'm certainly no virologist, that's apples and oranges though, pal. It all depends on the virus. It depends on how it attacks, where it attacks. You know, that's what I've read anyway. Joker says, look, I'll be honest. I don't mind if the masks stay for a while since I've noticed that there have been a decline in flu and other diseases in the workplace. You know, my only concern about that, and you're right, Joker, there with the mask wearing, definitely less colds and stuff. But what does that do to our immune systems themselves, though? Doesn't that, when at some point you do catch the cold or flu again, and this is an honest question, I don't know this, wouldn't that make the chances of having a more violent reaction to that be possible? Because again, you're not getting the cold or the flu regularly that helps keep those antibodies built. It just seems to me that that would be the downside to it. I did hear about that, Nectar. She says, or he said, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't mean to assume your gender. Yes, we had protests a month ago. Then Russian military came and killed a lot of people. I did hear about that. Going Nowhere says, Curtis, do you think the world is getting better or worse? The world? This country I've never seen in more dire straits as far as being there being so much division. The world, the Cold War era was scarier than even what we're in right now. Not by a lot, but was scarier. If I had to say where we currently are, I'd say we're moving towards a scarier time more so than a more secure time. Vin says, I feel like the government is useless these days. I love living in America, but totally disappointed in our government right now, but that's just my opinion. Well, our government is, and this is both sides of the aisle, I'm not picking on one or the other, is dysfunctional right now because, again, they've taken sides. Everything within government now is all about my side getting over on your side, and that's never going to be sustainable. Oh, I will say to you guys too, just so I don't forget, and mods, anytime you guys want to remind people of this in the chat, please feel free to do so. My early impressions on posting videos to Rumble is I like it a lot. I've been doing a lot of research over there on how they do things. It seems like, yes, whatever you want to say, you can say. I mean, within the normal parameters. You know, you can't call for violence against other people and everything. But what I'm saying is, you can post videos there without the concerns that you have at YouTube, especially me, with just getting hit. Any one of these streams could end up getting hit, getting me a community guideline strike if they don't like what I said, or they think that I didn't take their particular point of view on something and reinforce it firmly enough. So any of you, again, if you like these topical conversations, by all means, please sign up over there. Again, it doesn't cost anything. But I'm going to be putting all these topical videos, all of them will go there. And the ones that I think I'll be okay with on YouTube will go here as well. But some of them may have to be censored. Some of them I may, just like last night, I may not be able to do at all here. I have to put over there. But hold on, I should have had that handy. I'll give you guys the link, because I would really like to build our community that enjoys this stuff over there. And then if we, there it is. I'll even pin that. If we build enough of a crew over there, then we can, they also have live streaming over there. I have to pay for it, but that's fine. I'll pay for it. I'm not worried about that. But we'll move the live streams that are on the topical subjects over there too, so I don't have to worry about them. So again, I'm not trying to push you guys into paying for anything or anything. It's entirely free. It's an alternative to YouTube. Yes, it was started by conservatives, but that doesn't change my perspectives on things any. We'll have a test on it soon, because I am going to be doing a video about were the results of the 2020 election tainted? Did they get it wrong? And of course they did not. And Joe Biden won. And so that's not going to play well with the hardcore conservative crew over there. But they've guaranteed that they don't care your perspective. You can say what you want, what you feel. And I have faith in it. We'll see. That one, we'll test it, though. We'll find out. Hey, Bowser. Hi, Curtis. Hope your day is going well. It is. Thank you. I appreciate that. Excuse me, guys. Wolverine says, here's a joke we all know. YouTube's notification system. Yeah. Too bad. I just wish that joke were funnier. Philip says, thoughts on Beijing Olympics. This is the least amount I've ever watched any Olympics so far. I don't know why. I just can't get into it. I really wish we had boycotted it. Of course, Trudeau is all buddy-buddy with China, and yep, he needs something to tweet about while Rome burns down. yeah, good point, Philip. Well, I mean, when you think about it, what would Trudeau have to talk about, to tweet about, to be on social media about, if it weren't for the Olympics? Because there's nothing else going on. Because he's, la 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 la, nothing else going on. I can't hear you. That type of thing. So, well, thanks, Roguezilla. Milog says, if you stream on Rumble, then you won't be able to become a Twitch e-gamer girl. Well, we could just do entirely that here then. Milog, that's all. I'll tell you, if it's sad but true, if Team YouTube can't get this warning I have on the channel here overturned, I may have to turn this channel back into gaming, because it's just going to be a matter of time until it gets eclipsed. Because how can I make reaction videos? I don't have, within YouTube's terms of service, almost everything we react to, if somebody wants to be sensitive enough, they could try and make a case for nailing my videos. And obviously there's somebody that's going to try and do it. So I don't know what I'll do otherwise if I want to keep the channel up. Rob says, only worry with Rumble I have is getting the attention and views over there. Hopefully all works out. I know I'll be there. And that'll be a slow process, Rob, definitely. That's why I do things like this. I keep mentioning it to you guys, especially in streams where obviously you guys are the people that enjoy this type of conversation. But we can build a solid audience over there. Their monetization program works way better and more transparently than YouTube's. Well, the last video I posted over there is monetized. I've already made 9 cents. Don't spread that around. Again, I don't like people knowing that I got money, but I've already made 9 cents from it. But what I'm saying is they're very transparent about it. You don't see numbers like that with YouTube. They are right on top of things. Every small detail is categorized immediately over there. But Vince has just signed up for Rumble just for this. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Because like I say, I would love to have, now again, I'm not talking about closing the YouTube channel, but I would love to be able to move all of the topical stuff over there. That's the perfect forum for it. Perfect for it. Thanks, Mr. Shank. Sending Lawn Chair, secret stay with me, Rob says. Sending Lawn Chair says, Bibala, blah, blah, Borcher, cock and ball torture. Well, that's on point. Forget Rumble, make OnlyFans, Code says. James says, some of my masks match my clothes and are warm as well for winter. I live in Canada, so I welcome the mask. I will say, James, it's funny, my wife and I have been saying the same thing. Like, there's a convenience store just down at the end of my block, and around the corner at the end of the block. And I did find that in the wintertime when I would walk down, I'd get out of the store and, excuse me, sorry guys, and immediately reach for the mask and go, yeah, you know what, maybe I'll just wear this till I get home. Yes, there were moments where I was glad to mask. That was some of them. Right, Code, you don't have to pay. I have to pay for the streaming ability. No, you guys, it won't cost you guys anything. And it's not significant. It's not a huge amount of money. Well, it depends on how many people we get in the streams, but still, I'm not worried about that part. Yeah, Big Green says the same thing. That's one good thing I will say about the mask. Very convenient when it was cold. Yeah, I found myself doing that exact same thing. Again, I'd walk out of the store and you get one loop off and say, "Whoa, that's fucking cold," and you loop that right back on there. Big Green says, "I don't know he coughed. He has COVID." It's just, it's so dry in my house. So dry, so very, very dry. So I got my trusty jug next to me. And I won't vary from topic too long, but just so you guys know too, my plan is a little later this afternoon, I will be streaming. It's been sponsored by SL over at the Goosh, and he sponsored a double gaming stream of South Park Fractured But Whole, which means we'll be playing at least an hour of it today. As you can see, I just got the game in so we could do it. So after the stream, I'm going to put it in the PS4 to get any downloads I need done, and hopefully we'll be doing that later. I love South Park games. Confirmed he likes big jugs. Well, we knew that, Joker. We knew that. I've never made any bones about that. Next GTA Live. I don't know, Rob. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing here. I don't know, but there will be more. I love GTA. Again, if things don't get settled with doing these reaction videos at YouTube, if I'm going to be targeted the whole time, I may have to go back to gaming as the content here. I'm dying to see the new Jackass movie, Johan. Brax and I are going to try. He's going to be here this weekend, but we got a lot going on. Are going to try. He was here last weekend, but we just didn't have enough time because that was the first thing I suggested to him, but he was tired that the first day he came in and we didn't get any time the rest of the time he was here. Yes, I definitely want to see the new Jackass movies. Jeff says Italy won the gold in mixed doubles curling. Yeah, like I say, I just haven't had a lot of any interest in the Olympics this year. Maybe it's just the state of the world. Just like, whatever. Excuse me. James says, Curtis, are you the surprise debut on AEW tonight? Sending it lawn chair says, touch the meatball, caress it, run your finger down its curve, make sure you're here for it. Yeah. Philip says, I'm still impressed with the fact that I'm your 69th subscriber on Rumble. I should buy a lottery ticket. Yes, that is and always will be the elite number. Absolutely. You know what? Last time too, I'm gonna ask you guys again. You guys gave me really good advice last time. Where's my stupid pen? Here it is. What would you guys most like to see for the next topical video? Would you like to see me discussing my disgust with the media and how the media is absolutely useless. Or anything else you guys can suggest as well. What did I just talk about? What did I say I was going to be doing eventually? Oh, would you like to see me discussing, was the 2020 election stolen? Or something else that you guys have come up with on your own? What would you like? Because I'll make notations. What would you guys like to see next? Because if you're in here to talk about this, you obviously enjoy the topical stuff. Let's see. Can we do more clip and episode reactions on Rumble? No. That the Rumble account is just for the topical stuff. Oh, you were Nectar? I was your first sub on Rumble, even before you had created a channel. Rumble has dislikes. I like Rumble. Good point. I would like for you to pour shampoo down your shirt. Oh my, Lex. Why would I own shampoo? The cesspool that is media dues. 2020 elections, media for sure, great topic. Next topic, book burning, religion being mandated in schools. I'm not sure how we could discuss that. I'm not sure how much of an issue people are seeing that as. People who continue to claim Trump will be reinstated as president, I know. Simmy, he's back. As long as Curtis doesn't insult my lemon juice, we'll be fine. Fuck off, Train. Media sounds good. Media. Okay, so it's kind of split. So what I'll do then is I'll make sure those are the next two. We'll do that as the next two. Because that one seems to be kind of split. Last time we had a clear favorite. So we will do that. Again, I'm going to try and stream later. So I don't know if there will be another topical video today, but there will be one very soon. Mr. Shanks' 2020 election also. Thoughts on cock and ball torture? Senate Lawn Chair says, hey, whatever. No, everybody's got to have a hobby. I say that all the time. Luke says, what are your thoughts on the price of petrol? This is outlandish. And heating oil. Let me look it up. I don't even know what I'm going to be paying this one. Now, typically, my house is a large, old house. I told you guys it was built in 1860. So, needless to say, it is not energy efficient. Now, that said, in the dead of winter, my top heating bill would typically be right around $300, which is what, the time of the year that we're into right now. Let me see what my bill is going to be for this month. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now as we speak. Sure I am. If I can find it, there it is. All right, that would be under National Grid. As I said, typically this time of year, I would max out at around 300. My current bill is $473.85. Is that just stunning or what? $473.85. And actually, because that covered mid-February to mid-January, this next one I get will probably be even more. It was colder. So I'm going to be well over $500 on the next bill. And that follows in with the question about petrol prices. So to say that I am absolutely fucking disgusted with them would be an understatement. Excuse me. Jump Scare says, real trouble is I, as a Scot, don't own more kilts. Milok says 1860. Baldwin, was that around the time you had just finished high school? No, I'm not that old. I was only in... Yeah, okay, I was in junior high. Kaiser says, like a virus, I have joined your Rumble subscribers. I will ensure the subscribers grow. How vile, you'll be so happy. Big Green says, sorry, I just saw something shiny. What are we talking about? Right now we're talking about the outrageous price of fuel and heating oil, heating oils, natural gas, gasoline, petrol, whatever you want to call it. If you had to pick a favorite wrestler, who would it be? Well, my favorite wrestler from my era, Mark, is Bruno Sammartino. Oh, that's a good one too, Tyler. It says you could talk about Justice Stephen Breyer retiring from Supreme Court, and I think what that brings up even more so is the Supreme Court itself. Discussions about that would be interesting, and how much sway do you think the Supreme Court has as far as their political leanings? Now, we all know we talk about conservative judges, liberal judges. Do you think that the sway is significant when one, and now it's conservative, is dominant over the other? Or do you think they honestly just try and interpret the Constitution as best they can, but there is no way to not have an inherent political bias while doing so? So that would be a good conversation to have. I appreciate that, Joe. Joe says, if your videos were candy, give me diabetes. Here, I'll take another peek too while we're doing this. I'm waiting to hear back from the Twitter folks, the team YouTube at Twitter, about about looking into that for me. No, nothing from them yet. Nope, nothing yet from them. And again, I will be fair. Last time they took care of it for me. We'll see what happens this time. Senate Lawn Chair says the Supreme Court is swayed way to the right. Agreed. But I don't want to. I was I was just about to really get into it, but I want to hold off on that one, Lawn Chair, until we actually discuss it as I'll make a video first, and then we'll have a discussion as a follow up. If your videos were petrol, then I'm in your basement, Lick says. Oh, Lick, you're the best. Tengu says, I honestly can't believe people care what someone named after a fart cushion has to say. Well, see, and like I say, I don't know of anything I would agree with Whoopi Goldberg on. Nothing. I've never been a fan of hers at all in any way. But that said, I still think it was bullshit that the only reason she got suspended was, again, so the cancel culture crew can say, oh, we don't let our own go. You know, she had to pay a price too. They have to do that to keep up appearances so they can go after the people they really want to go after. Because again, she said something stupid. Really, really stupid. It was factually inaccurate. She apologized for it. To me, I mean, don't you, just tell me if you guys agree with this. I'm just curious. Don't you guys agree that whether you like her or not, and I do not, her apology should have been enough? Don't you agree she shouldn't have been suspended? I'm just curious. Because, come on. Again, it was a dumb thing to say, but she basically in her apology recognized that. I don't think there was ever any malicious intent. I think it was just ignorance. She just didn't know better. So should that be worth getting suspended? I don't think so. I think that was them protecting their cancel culture brand. No, I don't like her either, Mark. But again, that's in fairness, that's not the issue here. The issue is, should she have been suspended for saying that? You agreed, Toyin? She definitely shouldn't have been suspended. Well, that's what I thought. I just wonder if you guys would agree. Because, come on. Again, as I said, whether you like her or not, she said something dumb, and she apologized for saying something dumb. Isn't that enough? Saying, wait, you're right. And Lick said she was suspended, so they wait for the heat to die down. She'll be back in a month like none of this ever happened. Well, but she should be, though, Lick, in fairness. I mean, again, it wasn't it wasn't ill-intended. It was stupid, but there's no way you'll make me believe it was ill-intended. Cancel culture gets worse and worse as it evolves. I think you're right, Chad. I think the only thing, Chad, I can say is, and I haven't really touched on this much during this stream, but I do think we are seeing at least a significant amount of pushback against that cancel culture. Even in some of the cancel culture safe havens, such as Twitter, I do think you're starting to see more pushback, more mockery, which is what is necessary in my estimation, more mockery of those who perpetuate the whole cancel culture thing. And remember to feed your kids. It's not worth jail. I fucking love these screen names. I think I think you reacting to debates would be interesting. Hitchens versus William Craig is a great one to discuss. Seeing Hitchens get mad is one great visual. I would like stuff like that. That is something that I never knew if it would fly on the channel. But to be honest with you, and seeing the amount of interest we have in discussions like this, the amount of interest we have in these topical videos, maybe there would be something for that. I would enjoy that. Krusty says, I may be biased in this case, considering where I live, Zealand of Z Jews. Her apology wasn't actually heartfelt. She went on interviews basically doubling down on her statement she can have a vacation. You think so, Krusty? And now, again, that's just a different reading of it to me. Because the difference with what Whoopi did for me was what she said was provably, factually inaccurate. What she said was just wrong. It wasn't a matter of this is my opinion. She was wrong. And I thought the apology seemed sincere. Now, again, I could have been suckered in by that. But even then, I just don't think it was worth the suspension, considering she, again, just said something that was inaccurate. Now, if she would have gone out and tried to dispute the fact that what she said was inaccurate, then that would be a problem. Then she should probably just be removed, because what good is, on a show like the View, or what the View purports itself to be, put it that way, what good would be having someone there who willingly accepts spreading misinformation? Tengu says, I don't care about her suspension in and of itself, but since they fired Gina Carano for tweeting something way milder than Whoopi said on air, if they were consistent, they'd both be fired. Well, that's Tengu, I think you're onto it, though. I think the only reason Whoopi got a suspension was because those who would go after the Gina Caranos can at least point to that and say, oh, no, we come down on our own the same way. It's not that they wanted Whoopi to be suspended, or that they even thought that she actually should be. It was because they felt like they had to protect their cancel culture brand going forward. So I'm agreeing with you. Hoot says, hello, can't stay today, but I'm here to voice the opinion that we should cancel shampoo going into our pee-pee holes. Thank you for your support. I'm with that. Well, back from the days, what I remember of shampoo. Shampoo and I have not had anything of a relationship for over 25 years, so we don't talk anymore. Yeah, the truth, Philip. He said, I've heard some ignorant shit in my time, but saying the Holocaust wasn't about race is up there. Absolutely. I don't know how. I have no idea what possessed somebody to say something that mind-numbingly dumb. But again, the only reason I don't think she should be suspended is because, again, it was factually inaccurate. Where would she even come up with it? I don't know. I don't know how somebody's mind works that they could even think something along those lines. Lou says Curtis is a stinky boy. Oh my. Friendship ended with shampoo. Yeah. Lou says it's funny that she's being canceled for something that cancelers are usually in favor of. Well, that's the dynamic of being a cancel culturist, Licks. Sometimes you put yourself in a screwy position. I heard about that article. I didn't see it yet, Krusty. Krusty said, did you see the Babylon Bee basically grilling her with an article titled Hitler in Hell Finds Out Holocaust Wasn't About Race after watching The View? Yeah, I heard about that, but I haven't read it yet. I like the Babylon Bee. I should go check that one out. And again, guys, I'll just say once more, that pinned post is just the link to my Rumble account. So if you like these kind of conversations, please just sign up over there. Just follow me over there. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. It's just that in YouTube, there's a lot of these topics I'm not going to be able to make videos about. Some of them I won't even be able to stream about, and that's where I'll post that stuff. Oh, and you know what? Just dawned on me, guys. Remember yesterday's stream? So we were right, and Chrome wasn't here today. That's unfortunate. I like when Chrome's with us, but Chrome had pointed it out. Once I restarted Streamlabs, our little chat box, right? No, not right here. Right. right here. Our little chat box right here is back. Just randomly. I didn't do anything more to the system after we stopped yesterday. Just decided to show up again. All right, guys. Well, I gotta go. I am gonna try if you're interested in that, and you're around later in a little while. Oh yeah, it actually won't be long at all. I'm hoping to get back up here and excuse me, and start playing South Park Fractured Butthole. Our good pal SL over at the Goosh, over at our Patreon, is sponsoring a double header gameplay, which means it'll be at least an hour of gameplay. And so we'll be getting into that, getting deep into it. So if you're a fan of that stuff, come on and hang out. Guys, thanks for the great conversation again. It really is awesome. Hopefully someday we can get everybody that our whole crew that enjoys these type of conversations will go with us over to Rumble, and we'll be able to really let go and say whatever we want to say whatever we feel. That would be cool. But it's Wednesday, it's hump day. Yeah, the sticky stuff isn't bad on Wednesday just because it is hump day, and hump day just sounds like a fun day, even if the actual hump day part of it never seems to associate itself with me. It still sounds good. So here it is. Hump day sticky stuff for everybody. Pumpo, pumpo, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, because we'll bang. Okay, flashly like Buggy. And as always, most importantly, and it's always humping. Goosh, 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 goosh. Yeah. Goosh.